Hello, I'm Ian Hamill. I'm going to be arguing that manned spaceflight is still viable and important. It's a topic that's pretty interesting to me. I think manned spaceflight is just a very cool thing. I think it's been a big part of our history as Americans and as just humans in general. I think that it's something that should be kept as a program for America and for other countries. I think it's important to humanity to have manned space flight, despite whatever expenses or costs there could be, and I will be arguing that point. So manned spaceflight is something that really has an effect on everybody. One of the major ways that we see it in our lives is, for the most part, the public pays for spaceflight, manned or robotic. NASA is a government agency, and so it's paid for by, taxes and the public money, really. So it's kind of, making us all involved because it's coming out of our pockets. So I think everybody should be involved in deciding the way that money is spent. We need to think, if we're sending stuff into space, why are we doing it? Is it really that beneficial to us? Is it something that we should keep doing, and should people be up there? Also, we have the concerns about people losing their lives, and that's something to not be taken lightly either. And we really need to take a look at, everybody needs to be involved at taking a look at just how these funds are getting spent, what lives are being risked, and is it something that should be continued? One of the most important sources that I'm going to be using is an article entitled "Dispelling the Myth of Robotic Efficiency: Why Human Space Exploration Will Tell Us More About the Solar System Than Will Robotic Exploration Alone." Title's a bit of a mouthful, but it does a really good job of explaining itself and what you're going to be expecting as you read this article. One of the biggest arguments against manned spaceflight is just that it's so darn expensive. And really, we can do a lot more using robots. Robots can stay in harsh environments and everything, and that humans aren't able to. But this article takes a good amount of time showing that real manned space flight is, one, just not as expensive as people think. That when you compare directly the cost of robotics flights against manned flights, the manned flights really aren't much more expensive, and in some cases they're actually less expensive. And he also looks at the payoff that manned space flight can bring versus the payoff that robotic space flight can bring, and there's really a lot more brought to the table using manned space flight. It's a very effective article. He uses a lot of numbers and facts, and it's just very cold, hard truth, and it helps prove my point a lot. In the article, Jumpstarting the Orbital Economy, it looks at largely the benefits of having the private sector involved in manned space flight. It, talks about the high costs that have been in the past and how NASA has kind of wasted money on certain things and with certain contractors. But if we involve the private sector in the right way and fund them in the right way, we can find all kinds of new innovations that'll help manned spaceflight be something that is economical, so we can continue to see the benefits of it in the years to come. A third important article I'm going to be looking at is called "Death on Mars." It looks at the future of space flight, and specifically at humans colonizing the planet of Mars, and the deaths that will inevitably come from that, not just because of dangers presented, but because if people are going to be living on Mars, that means they're going to be growing old and dying there. It looks at different problems that are presented in long-term space travel and the colonization in small areas with small groups of people. And it's, something that's important. I can't just pretend that there's not a danger or a high price to pay in manned space flight, and so I will qualify those arguments and make sure that they receive attention, but also it can show the avenues to solutions. Okay, so I hope I'm able to prove my point well with the importance of manned spaceflight. I also hope that the PowerPoint was legible. I tried to make the text color coincide with the background color so that you could actually read it. And thank you so much for watching.